Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm back for another Roscoe's recap, and this viewing party was for season 18 episode 2, and the guests this week were Roxxxy Andrews and Detox. Today we're going to be talking about Roxxxy calling out Ginger Minj for lying about her, some backstage tea about Coco Montrese's elimination on All Stars 2. Naysha Lopez also doubts the truth about some things that Ginger Minj has said. And some drama that's sort of related to this week's runway to do with TS Madison. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Also, I'm so close to hitting 140,000 subscribers, so please make sure you hit that subscribe button to help me get to that goal. And if you choose not to subscribe, we all know what Tatiana would say.
Choices.
So they started off by asking Roxxxy if she knows any of the queens from this season, because quite a few of them are from Florida, which is where Roxxxy is from. Roxxxy said she's good friends with Mikey Meeks and they've worked together a lot. She also knows Athena and Juicy Dion, and she's heard of Mia Starr, but she doesn't know Discord Adams. They also asked who Roxxxy is rooting for this season, and she said Mikey because she works with her all the time. They also asked them how they felt that the first episode of the season had no eliminations and it was not a split premiere. Detox said that she likes that, but Roxxxy said, quote, "I just always think somebody should go home. B-word, if you make it all the way there and you effed up, B-word, bye," and everyone laughed and Detox agreed. Detox asked who Roxxxy would have sent home in episode 1, and Roxxxy said, quote, "the potato sack, that was bad," which was in reference to Mandy Mango's outfit. They moved on and talked about the runway category for this week, which was your neck, your back, your pussy and your crack. Roxxxy mentioned this was funny because this runway category is inspired by a song of the same name by the rapper Khia. And Judge TS Madison has a long-standing beef with Khia, so it was funny that this was the runway category, and that might be why TS looked shocked when RuPaul announced the category. I had never heard about this drama before, so I did a little bit of research about it. It's a bit of a complicated story, so I'll just give you a very quick overview of what happened. Several years ago, TS Madison and Khia used to co-host an online entertainment/gossip show called The Queen's Court. After a while, the two of them fell out for various reasons, and Khia alleged later that TS took ownership of the show's brand without Khia agreeing to it. But TS claimed that she did it to protect the business because Khia was not fulfilling her responsibilities. Sometime later, Khia allegedly made rude and disparaging comments online about TS, including some transphobic and anti-LGBT comments. She also tried to file a restraining order against TS, but it was denied. Then, from what I can see, last year, Khia was booked for DC Pride, even though she had previously made several anti-LGBT comments. So there was a lot of backlash against Khia being booked at a Pride event, and TS was also booked at the same event. Apparently, Khia confronted TS at the event and accused TS of trying to interfere with her, quote, getting her bag. Khia also allegedly hurled insults at TS on stage. There are several videos posted online showing a heated phone call between the two of them where they are arguing about what happened. TS later addressed the drama in a video and joked that she never tried to stop Khia getting paid, which amounted to $2,500 and lemon pepper wings. So anyway, this was just a quick overview of why TS and Khia do not get on, and why it's funny that Khia's song was the inspiration for this week's runway when TS was one of the guest judges. Going back to Roscoe's, they talked more about the queens, and Roxxxy said some queens claim they can sew, but they actually can't make an outfit, like Kenya Pleaser last week, and the other said that she ran out of fabric for her outfit. Roxxxy then joked that if you don't have enough fabric, you can just rip the fabric off the walls, because the pink bricks in the workroom is actually just a piece of fabric on the wall and it's not real bricks, which some people didn't know. Roxxxy then shared that on All Stars 9, when they were leaving, Angeria was in the corner of the room and she cut off a piece of the wall to take with her. Naysha said she also did the same thing when she was on All Stars 8, but the funny thing is, she later found out that they put the set into storage between seasons, so maybe there's a big hole in the wall the next time they unpack it and put it up. Later on in the episode, Detox said that she was bored of this episode and that she was dozing off while watching. Naysha agreed and said that the episode started off strong, but then it just sort of, quote, fizzled, and even the drama that happened in the episode was not that interesting. Roxxxy said she's heard through the grapevine that this season is apparently a, quote, kumbaya season, so presumably there's not going to be much drama. Naysha joked that sometimes they read online that the Roscoe's viewing parties are actually more fun than the actual episodes. They then got to the moment when Didi Fuego got eliminated and became the first queen to be eliminated from season 18, and they all clapped and cheered for Didi. Detox said that she knows Didi from New York and she's really fun, so it sucks that she was the first to go. Naysha said you should all go and follow Didi on social media or at least send her a positive comment, because speaking from personal experience, it's really hard to be the first queen eliminated. And you have to live it not just once, but twice. Once when it actually happens on set, but then you have to relive the whole thing again when it airs on TV. Host Caramel said she has to give it up for Mandy Mango for winning the lip sync because she did not know that Mandy could dance like that. Roxxxy says she thinks Mandy is a great performer, but she just needs a little more time in the oven to bake until she's fully ready. Naysha added that when it comes to lip syncs, if RuPaul watches the lip syncs and thinks that she wants to see a queen perform again, that queen will probably win, because although Didi was performing, there was no exciting element to it, unlike Mandy. Also, Naysha mentioned that during the lip sync, Mandy completely, quote, fell apart in terms of her outfit, but she still managed to win, even though usually RuPaul hates it when queens' wigs or shoes come off, and that usually means they'll automatically lose. But Caramel said that in more recent years, that doesn't seem to be the case as much, because queens like Maya Iman LePage, Lana Del Rey and Corey King have all had wigs fall off during lip syncs, but they still won because they gave the best performance. They also mentioned how in Untucked, Mandy's eyelash had come undone, but none of the queens told her about it or offered to help her fix it. Roxxxy said it was a bit like on season 5 when Serena Chacha did her best drag look, and when she turned around, she had on a, quote, old lady nude panty, which the judges read her for. And although the other queens saw it backstage beforehand, they didn't tell Serena to change it because they didn't like her. Also, if you're a frequent viewer of Roscoe's, you'll know that pretty much every time Roxxxy is at Roscoe's, she always makes a joke about Serena Chacha, so it's sort of become a bit of a running joke. They moved on to the Q&A session, and Caramel said because Roxxxy and Detox were there, she wanted to reach out to a special friend of theirs to submit a question, and they played a video from their fellow Season 5 and All Stars 2 sister, Coco Montrese. Coco had 2 questions, and the first was for Roxxxy, which was, at what point in All Stars 2 did Roxxxy start to feel regret for sending Coco home in the first episode? Was it when Adore Delano quit the competition the next episode? Or was it when Fifi started, quote, acting the fool and sang off key to her own song? Roxxxy said she did not want to win that episode because she knew that it would mean that she would have to eliminate Coco, so she regretted it right away. But Detox said Coco was going to go home regardless because the other top that week, which was Tatiana, also chose Coco's lipstick. Also, just as a side note to this outside of Roscoe's, because I'm not sure I've ever mentioned this on the channel before, this reminded me that for years after All Stars 2, there were rumours online line that said that Fifi, who now goes by Jeremy, and Roxxxy had previously dated before the season, and that was supposedly the reason why Roxxxy chose to keep Jeremy in the competition and eliminated Coco. However, back in 2022, Jeremy addressed this rumour during an interview with Joseph Shepherd, which I believe was one of the first times this had ever been addressed. Jeremy said that the two of them never actually properly dated or had anything sexual, but they definitely talked. And it sounded like there was something between them, but it never actually amounted to anything. But according to Jeremy, on the set of All Stars 2, everyone knew about Jeremy and Roxxxy having something in the past, and apparently they kept trying to get them to talk about this storyline on camera. So every time Roxxxy and Jeremy talked, they would try and make them say something about it, but presumably the two of them just refused to talk about it, which is why it never appeared in the episodes. And I just thought that this was some interesting backstory that some of you may not have heard about before. Going back to Roscoe's, and Coco asked a second question, which was for Detox, and she said, "Tell the truth, you were being very strategic when you paired Coco and Alyssa together for the Can I Get an Amen singing challenge, right after they had just had an argument," and everyone in the audience laughed. Roxxxy said Coco doesn't know this, but she and Detox were laughing about it at the time, and they decided to put the two of them together. Detox said, quote, "Because they were being so annoying, I was like, F it." And the two of them were annoyed that Detox had paired them together, so Detox also made them go first in the lineup. Detox also said someone told her that Coco had been talking a lot of crap about her afterwards in the workroom, which is why they ended up having a bit of a tiff. But it was just funny because Detox and Coco had been friends for such a long time and for the entirety of their drag career, which is 25 years. They then said thank you to Coco for submitting her questions, and everyone cheered. And Detox said about Coco, quote, "Looking just like that oil painting you post." And Roxxxy said, quote, "So blurry," and everyone laughed. This is because Coco has developed a reputation for always posting highly photoshopped photos of herself, and it's now become a bit of a joke within the fandom, because at first people weren't sure if Coco was being serious or not, or whether she thought that people couldn't clock that they had been photoshopped. But Coco has since addressed it and said that she enjoys photoshopping and she just likes to look nice and have fun. Roxxxy even said that they have all mentioned it to Coco in the past when they've seen her, and they've been like, "Girl, what are you doing?" And apparently Coco just said, quote, "Why, girl, you can't take me," and everyone laughed. Detox added that Coco is, quote, "blind as a bat," so she probably posts those photos and thinks that she looks sickening. There was then a Q&A question for Roxxxy and Detox, which was, what is your favourite fib that Ginger Minj has told? And was it that Jennifer Aniston brought Ginger a cup of coffee on set? And everyone burst out laughing. Just to quickly explain, as I'm sure many of you are aware, there has been a lot of drama recently where Ginger Minj has been called out for lying or making things up, and many queens have come out and said that Ginger is lying. The part about Jennifer Aniston comes from this clip where Ginger was talking about working with Jennifer on the movie Dumplin', and Ginger said that Jennifer brought her coffee on set.
Jennifer Aniston brought me coffee my first day on set and told me, "Thank you so much, we've been very excited for you to join the cast." So she was lovely. I mean, of course she's Jennifer Aniston, so don't get too close or the alarms go off. But she's just a really warm, inviting person. She was very nice to me.
I did not know Jennifer Aniston was doing the intern duties of this movie. That's amazing.
But in the wake of all of this Ginger Minj discourse, people now think that Ginger might be making this story up, or at least highly embellishing it. I did also do a video about all of the Ginger Minj lying accusations, which I'll link to in the description, but there may be a further video in the future because there are more things to talk about. So going back to the question, and Roxxxy said, we've all been caught lying or extending the truth in our lives, but Roxxxy said, some of the things Ginger has said, why would she lie about that? Because it's so easy to prove false because other people were there. For example, when Ginger said that they made Cynthia Erivo do the battle cry on set before the lip sync on All Stars 10, but then Acid, Daya and Denali all said that that did not happen. Roxxxy then brought up one of Ginger's other apparent lies that involved Roxxxy. So a few weeks ago, Ginger appeared on Monet Exchange's podcast, and she mentioned Roxxxy specifically, and said that she has known Roxxxy for years and they started drag together, and she even stood next to Roxxxy on stage when she was crowned Miss Continental Plus.
Like Roxxxy, I grew up doing drag with Roxxxy. We've known each other forever.
Yeah.
We started in pageants together.
Yeah.
I stood beside her when she was crowned Miss Continental Plus.
Oh, word.
Like there's deep roots there.
And she said that Roxxxy knows that Ginger has Puerto Rican heritage, but seemingly denied it, which felt like a quote slap in the face.
She came out, she knows that, you know, I do have Puerto Rican heritage, and she knew that. For her to like take it right after the moment I was crowned publicly to say like, no offense, you were great, but it's time we crown a Latin winner. Yes, I don't necessarily live in that world. That's not where my drag is based. But you know, like, that doesn't make me any less. It just like struck me as really like a slap in the face on many levels.
However, after this clip was posted, Roxxxy posted a screenshot of this moment in her Instagram stories and said, "At Ginger Minj, stop lying. We don't talk. How the F would I know you're Puerto Rican? And deep roots? When was the last time you called or cared how I'm doing? Girl, bye, leave me alone, Ginger." Roxxxy followed this up with a photo of when she won Miss Continental Plus, and the caption said, "This is the top 5 of the year I got crowned Miss Continental Plus. Where's Ginger?" Roxxxy also posted a few tweets about this as well. In one of them she said, "Ginger Minj, why are you mentioning me now? Slap in the face. I never knew you were Latin, nor did the rest of the world. If you felt away, you should have called me, but it's cool now. Don't. Stop seeking the wrong attention, sister." And then in another post, Roxxxy said, "She didn't become Latin till I made a statement. Girl, bye." And she also posted a photo of Miss Continental Plus with the caption, "Liar." Back to Roscoe's, and host Batty Davis said that she was actually there at Miss Continental Plus that year because her drag mother was one of the 5 on stage with Roxxxy, and she said Ginger was not there because Ginger made the final 12 but not the final 5. Roxxxy explained that she posted the photo to show that, contrary to what Ginger said, she was not next to Roxxxy holding her hand when she won. And apparently some people thought that the person next to Roxxxy in the photo was Ginger, but Roxxxy explained that Ginger is 5'3", whereas Roxxxy is about 6 foot and about 6'5" in heels. But in the photo, the person that Roxxxy is holding hands with is the same height as her, so it's clearly not Ginger. Roxxxy questioned why Ginger would lie about that, and also why Ginger would lie about them knowing each other for so long and starting drag together. Roxxxy explained that she didn't meet Ginger until the year Roxxxy won Miss Continental Plus, and she certainly did not start drag with her. Roxxxy also mentioned a clip of when Ginger Minj said that when she was on the set of Hocus Pocus 2, apparently the first thing Bette Midler said to Ginger was that Ginger was robbed on All Stars 6.
But the 3 of them, they didn't give us a chance to be nervous that first day. Because the second we walked on, it was right after All Star 6 finished. Okay. And Bette Midler goes, "You were robbed," with those teeth and nails and everything.
And when Roxxxy mentioned this story at Roscoe's, everyone laughed, and Roxxxy made a face, seemingly implying that she did not believe the story. Detox also mentioned a clip when Ginger said that RuPaul invited her to her house for game night. But Detox said, quote, "I don't see Ru having game nights and inviting queens." Just as a side note though, I can't say personally whether Ginger's story about the game night is true or not, But I do just want to mention that I interviewed Pandora Box back in 2023, and she told a story that she was once invited to RuPaul's house for game night. So it does sound like Ru does indeed have game nights and invites the queens, so that part is maybe true. But as to whether Ginger was invited is something I can't answer, but I just wanted to add this as extra context because I think it's important to show all the facts. Anyway, back to Roscoe's, and Roxxxy said one thing she does want to say about Ginger is she thinks Ginger is saying all of these things and it's a quote mechanism to try and make her sound more in or to make the situation cooler than it was, but she wants to let Ginger know she doesn't need to do that. People love Ginger and she's a great queen, so she doesn't need to make things up or extend the truth. Naysha added she thinks it comes from the fact that Ginger got so much crap from the fandom for winning All Stars 10, so Ginger has always felt on the defense because of it, which has played into this quote victim role. But Roxxxy said she won the show and got the $200,000 and no one can take that away from her, so she doesn't need to be doing all of this lying. Naysha then said, quote, "It's very hard to feel sorry for someone who just pocketed $200,000. You just won, but you want me to be upset that you didn't get a call from this queen? Are you kidding?" And finally, on a related note, they asked Naysha what was her favourite Ginger Minj fib. Naysha said there's one in particular, and maybe Ginger did mention this and she just doesn't remember, but back in 2017, Hurricane Maria happened in Puerto Rico and caused catastrophic damage. So they did a fundraiser with about 50 to 60 drag queens to raise funds for the victims. Naysha hosted this event with Ginger, and as far as Naysha can remember, Ginger never mentioned that she had Puerto Rican heritage. But Naysha said you'd think that if she was ever going to mention it, she would have mentioned it at this event, given that they were literally raising money for Puerto Rico. But Naysha said maybe she just can't remember Ginger saying it. Roxxxy then joked and asked if Ginger was half Puerto Rican back then, or was it a quarter, and everyone laughed, presumably because they think Ginger has changed her story in the past in terms of what percentage her Puerto Rican heritage is. Roxxxy said Ginger said in the interview that Roxxxy knew that she was a quarter Puerto Rican, but Roxxxy just said, quote, "Yes, I did," but she said it kind of ironically and just shrugged, and everyone laughed. So there you go, there was the Roscoe's recap for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18, Episode 2. What do you think of Season 18 so far? And which part of this Roscoe's recap was your favourite? Let me know in the comments. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my latest Patreon member, David Ring, who joined in the Queen of Queens tier. David, you are not just a queen, you are the queen of all queens. If you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as exclusive content, member shoutouts, priority when submitting interview questions, as well as many other benefits, please consider checking out my Patreon to support the channel, and I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to all of my amazing Patreon members. Honestly, you are the backbone of this channel and you really keep it going. I so appreciate all of your amazing ongoing support, so thank you all so much. Please can you make sure you like and comment on this video, because it really does help to boost the video in the algorithm and promote it to more people. And most importantly, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It does make a massive difference to the channel and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in the future for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. Thank you so much. Bye.